Is it ready yet?
It's your girl, Trail Delord, Nasia B, and we're your hosts of Southern Tea Podcast.
All right, Teasters, we are back again with a new show. We have we actually have two returning guests that have been on our show previously. We have my lovely sister, Miss Rara Harris, over here.
Hello, how are you?
All right. And then we have Miss Terry Sherman. She's back to join us again.
I'm so excited.
She loved us so much, y'all. She had to come by.
I did. I couldn't stay away.
So
Who did you introduce her to?
my audience, my teasters. So thank you, ladies, for coming back on the show. We were having conversation behind the scenes, and so we decided that we wanted to bring this conversation to the forefront because it's affecting us globally. It's affecting us as a community, and it's affecting our household, which is diversity. We're living in an era now where diversity should be the main topic of conversation. I feel like everybody probably need to go through a diversity training or education source because apparently people don't
Which
know
is
how.
so wild in and of itself. We gotta tell you what's inappropriate behavior, but okay.
So with that being said, Ms. Rara, you was talking about traveling around the world because you are a military family and some of the issues or diversity concerns that your daughter faced growing up. So would you like to continue to elaborate?
So when we moved to Virginia Beach, we moved in a predominantly, I would call it a white area, A-plus schools. A-plus school rating. My daughter, Mom, I really, really want to go to, I think it was Lansdowne. And I'm like, no, we live in Kellam School District. That's where you're going to go. But Mom, there's not a lot of me there. And I'm like, I am not going to take you out of our district to move you into another school district so you can see some of you. The world is different wherever you go. So I need you to be able to adapt. And so, no, I'm not going to move. She begged and she pleaded. And my answer was still no. Because I want you to go where you're going to get the best education. Nothing else to me matters because when you get a job, I was working when I was in California, stationed in California, at a dentist's office. I was the only African American. I'm like, sometimes you will be the only one. And you have to learn now how to deal and how to cope. It's about being adaptable.
That's right.
And what I can say is now she's 27.
You do not have a 27-year-old.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And so I really think that she can pretty much adapt to most situations, most environments. And I can tell you coming up being away from my family, because I was gone for 22 years. She would call our family on the way. So it's just me, her, and my husband.
Okay.
She would call on the phone, and you can laugh now because you know what I'm finna say. And they would go, "Ooh, Kenya, you sound white." And she would look at me and go, "Mom, why do they say I sound white?" And I'm like, "Girl, don't pay no attention."
Right.
So we
knew what
ghetto.
you were doing, but she knew what she was doing, and you again, that's been my experience. And so the world is not that way, and that's why I say like I'm totally for supporting Black-owned, all things Black, but the world is not all Black.
Right.
So you can never take that stance of like it's all Black or nothing. Like it's not reality. And so I always grew up in very diverse activities. I danced and again played tennis and all this. My first real experience, I think, with, if you will, racism was playing tennis though, because
That's not a Black sport.
that was not happening. Like, and so here in Jacksonville, they do have public courts, but a lot of the times for you to get like the training and the coaching, you got to go to a country club. I hated it. And my mom, again, just was much like you. She knew what she was doing. I didn't understand it. I understand it now. Same approach. Oh, no, you're going to stay here. And part of the membership, she got and became a member of Orange Park Country Club on some kind of fluke one time. I don't know how we got up in there. And so with the package, like you had the tennis, but then you could access the dining room like once a month. I hated it. I was like, I don't want to go eat there because there was always some member asking you, "Are you lost? If I walk through, are you looking for someone?" And, you know, they're not asking the kids I'm playing with that.
Right.
Those kids lived in there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I hated it. No, we're gonna go in here. We're gonna eat once a month, and you're gonna like it because
Exactly.
just much like you need to learn how to adapt with this. But I had a great experience there. It was actually Florida Yacht Club, and I'm gonna say it out loud. I will never forget it was a coach over there that ran the clinics, and it was like for a kid to feel that, oh, you really don't like me. That's the first person I remember in my life, and I think I was 14, 15, remembering like this man does not like me, and I could not understand why. And the kids were much better than I was that played there. Like these kids were playing tennis from this big. I started playing, I was 12. You know what I'm saying? So I'm way behind. These kids are getting prepped for college. Like, they were great. I wasn't that great at the time. And I would go to the clinic. And I remember one time, it was one evening, we were playing a little rally, and I beat the girl who was, like, one of his favorites. And you hollered out, all right, I won. That man turned and looked at me. I'll never forget his face. And I'm 20 years past it. And he goes, "Are you sure?" And I remember in that moment thinking, why would I lie about winning? He's like first to 10, something like that. Why would I lie about that? And that's when I really knew. I was like, Mom, I do not want to come back here anymore. But that exposure, you have to learn how to deal with that because you're going to encounter it on every level with different faces. But his face and the "Are you sure?" I've met several times in my life since. Just a different scenario. So hats off to you for it. And I'm sure she appreciates it.
She does appreciate it, but what I will tell you is what even with me promoting her to make sure she understands this is the world. I can see that there were some experiences that she missed.
I got you.
Okay? And when I say that is because when it came time to pick a college, we never had these discussions. She decided, I'm going to HBCU.
Oh, I went to 2. So let's hear her take on it, then I can share mine.
She was like, I'm going to HBCU. Because everywhere we went, it was so diverse or predominantly white, she felt she missed something. Yeah. And I was reading her Facebook page the other day, and she talked about her experiences in college and the experiences she will never forget. Yeah. And attending that HBCU, when we went to visit that college, is on the number 1 of her list. Yeah. That's an experience that she never, like for me, I grew up in a predominantly black school. So all those things that she was like, oh, it's the greatest
so
experience.
New. Yeah, you looking like.
And she was like to see all the people around me look like me, and we all chatting and rooting for our school. She was like, oh my God, that's an experience that's gonna die with me.
Wow.
I grew up with that in high school. William and Raines, we pep round.
Correct. So we been doing it.
Right.
But
we at Raines 2.0.
Yeah, I didn't realize what she missed.
Right.
And the cultural aspect of it. And to have a teacher, because when you're African American, they root for you, they push for you, you get that motherly in school. I had that.
Yep.
And so when she went to college, she got that.
I just talked about one of my professors before you got here at FAM. Like, she's like, my mom, but yes.
Yep. And it like, and I was one of those moms. My sister tell you, my finger is on your neck. Like,
oh, yeah.
So I'm not losing control of you, or you're not getting out of hair because we got goals. I understand how the world is. You don't know yet.
Right.
And I understand I can't protect you from everything.
That's right.
But I want to tell you there's a brick wall there, so go around it.
That's right.
That's my job to say, hey, I already know these things that you're going to experience. I experienced racism a long time ago, but I didn't really know that my daughter was experiencing those things.
Still.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now when we talk about all of the experiences, and even like in a predominantly white school, I got the phone call from the school to tell me and my husband, playing a little skip day, and we're in the shopping at the Navy Exchange, and we get a call, we need you to come to the school. There's been an incident. Huh? What? My daughter know it. Mama don't play that. So what do you mean by incident? And so it was one of the teachers made a statement in class, and my daughter's very outspoken like me.
I see that runs.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, no,
The outspokenness.
Yeah.
So she, the teacher had said something about negative about, I I guess, black students. Now, my daughter was always in the honors classes and stuff, so she was always one or two blacks in the whole class. So my daughter's like, oh, I'm sorry, I think that's a misstatement you just said. So she's not going to let a teacher make that statement and just walk away from it.
And I'm sitting here, as you shouldn't.
Yeah. So they go back and forth. And so my daughter decides, I will not sit here and let you berate African Americans because you don't know all of them. Who do you think you are? I dare you. And she got up and she walked out of class and refused to go back. So she went to the principals and she wanted to like call my parents. And I'm like, but they wouldn't tell me over the phone, so I didn't know what I was walking into. You know, and so I get there and they brought the teacher in and I'm thinking, you know, what's going to happen? And they was like, this did happen. So everything my daughter said happened. The teacher started crying. And the teacher started crying and they, my husband was like, are you crying because you saw her? Or are you crying because you got caught? So that becomes, you know, and I was like, so my daughter was like, I want out of her class. Again, being the parent that I am and knowing that this is not going to be your only experience, absolutely not. Why should you have to move? You did nothing wrong. That teaches every student in that room, the minute I make you leave the room, it's going to seem like what you did was wrong. You cannot stand up for yourself. No, the person who's going to walk on eggshells is that teacher.
That's right.
It won't be you. So you will go to class every single day and do your work as expected, and we're not going to have any more incidents.
That's right.
And I said, I am your mother. I will never let somebody walk over you.
That's right.
But understand, you did nothing wrong, so you will not move.
That's right.
And that was my position.
That's
now,
right.
I look back, and us pushing our kids to stay in that situation to them may seem like I'm in a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
But life
Later.
sometimes is going to be that hard.
That's right.
And you got to make that tough decision.
You do.
Yep.
Yeah. That's real.
Because that's how Dorian, I want to say maybe last year, because that's when we moved out here, when he started going to 6th grade out here. And I want to say last year probably was his toughest year.
Okay. You're trying to adjust.
Yeah, and just multiple times coming home, Mama, why we moved out here? Can we move back to Jacksonville? Can I go to school in Jacksonville? Like, I don't like it out here. And it's like, this is where we at. This is what it is.
You gotta make.
You're gonna have to make the best of it, and then you just go into the conversations of, okay, somebody call you out your name. That don't define you.
Correct.
Don't get bothered by that. Like,
true.
So then it goes to learning how to let stuff roll off your shoulders. How to make fun of them making fun of you to make it a laughable moment.
Right.
Like he's talking about when the boys kept calling him gay. He's gay. Okay, well act like you gay and try to flirt with him. He'll fall back. And so he he's like, I did that, but then he started back again. So it's like you teach your children to be alternative ways to deal with the situations.
Because you still got to deal.
You still got to deal with it. And I told him, I was like, everywhere you go, you're gonna encounter white people. Like when you go to work, y'all gonna work together.
And now even other cultures, because there's
right,
other
not
cultures
just white
you run
people.
into where it's like
right. There's a lot of cultures out there that don't like us, but don't let that deter you from doing what you got to do. What you got to do. You still have to go to school. You still have to learn. You got to grow up in this world with these people. You just got to learn to adjust around them.
And like you said, but know who he is and knowing who we are.
Right, as people.
And people gonna throw stuff at you all the time.
But what the kids have to understand is you will encounter racist people. You cannot cover that. But think about the white friends that you hang around that's not racist.
Yeah.
So don't get so sucked in and let them take so much of your spirit from within you.
That you can't see the good.
You can't see
and I told him that too, and I was like, all white people are not bad.
Right.
All white people are not racist. Just like all
Just
black
like all
people
blacks
ain't
good.
bad. We know we ain't all thieves. We ain't all thugs. No. Some of us are very intelligent individuals. We can be there.
That's
we can get ghetto and ratchet. All of us can, but you learn to flip the switch
and
when
it's
you
just
need to
taking
be.
people at face value for each individual.
Exactly.
Because even for me, like I was never. My first time being in an all black anything was my first day at Albany State, and I'm looking around like, whoa, everybody's black. Everybody is black. It's a real shock. Because for me, it was that side of it. I was like, I've never been in an all black situation ever. And here we are.
Right.
And it's true. And even that, I'm very thankful for my HBCU experience too, but I also went to state schools. So I was able to see the difference. But I think I kind of took the position of what you said. Like, it's very easy to get very comfortable if you're coming from, like, an all-black elementary elementary to an
Yeah.
all-black middle to an all-black
Yeah.
high school and an all-black college, it's like you have no sense
Yeah.
of like
Nothing
when
outside.
you do go out into the real world, it's like you done forgot because that's when my mom. I had called home one day and I was like, we talk different in class with the professors at black colleges than we do at some of the things we would talk about and get comfortable with.
Yes. You can
And
do it.
you could never do at UNF. You can't say that. Like, but then the other side of that is I took a class at UNF the first semester, and it was like African American. I was an English major, something to do with African American literature. Now here it came from FAMU, 2 years of lit African American lit slave novellas. There, very different. So it became laughable to me to have these conversations at UNF. So here I am sitting in this class. The teacher was biracial. She was real cool. And I think it was me and maybe one other black student. And we're sitting in here deconstructing black literature in a class of like predominantly white students. And I think at one point, like I chuckled out loud. I didn't mean to. Because it was just like trying to do that there. But doing it at FAMU was so different.
Yeah.
And I know one of my daughter's experiences when they talked about it when she was in her high school, which was predominantly white.
Right.
She didn't want them to call on her. Why does it have
Because
to be?
they're looking for you for the answer. That
Right.
really happens. Because it's like, well, why? I mean, I got the answer, but I gotta have the answer.
Right.
Like, it's a certain level of depth that you don't get.
Yeah.
We got deep
Yeah.
in those kinds of
Right.
conversations there. But at UNF, it was just like, this is so lame.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say
Like they touch the surface.
and you can't say
Yeah.
what you really want to say though either because no one gets it.
Right.
It's not relatable anymore.
That's interesting that you say that coming from a college experience. Dorian just experienced that this year in the seventh grade.
Blows my mind. So to go back to, not to digress, but to go back to you talking about them having to implement a program for these students in 2020 for middle school students. Like that's frightening when you think about it.
Yes.
So we got to have a safe space in the school for our black students
In
to
2020.
express how they're feeling. Not all the students, like a
Right.
whole school assembly, but just the
Right.
black kids.
Yeah.
But
That's
the
sobering.
problem for me, so we're having a program just for the black kids to talk about their experience. But the problem doesn't lie with the black kids. It's accepting of everybody, regardless of race, nationality, sexual orientation, acceptance. Shouldn't we be talking to all students about
Right.
acceptance?
And how to
when
deal with one
yeah,
another.
Definitely.
When we push one group over here, let's talk about, well, we're here for you as a teacher. Are you really? Because you're not addressing
The issue as a whole.
And that's why I'm saying, it's like, why we're going to segment. You're already segmented.
right.
We're going to further segment you.
And
give you
then
a
the
safe
kids gonna be like,
space.
"Ooh, why y'all all going
Right.
I mean,
So you're
so
still
you're
there's still
creating-
segregation
Yeah,
there.
I see what you're trying to
There's
do.
still a form of the segregation. I understand what you're trying to do,
it's
but
really
you're not
addressed it.
doing it as a whole. That's why I feel like maybe they just need to do a diversity training
That probably would
all the
make
way
sense.
across the board with the staff as well. Because sitting in the you sit in these meetings and you hear them, but you could pick up on facial expressions and you get that vibe like you really don't care, or you put, oh well, I was unaware.
But I got a question. So we talked about, like, my daughter, she was saying, I don't want them to call on me because they expect me to know, even though I do know. But I don't want to lead this conversation
Every time.
every single time. But they don't know.
True.
So if we don't lead those conversations,
true.
how will they ever know? They're never going to be able to experience it. But if we can't bring them into our reality, how can it ever change?
Well, with that being said, you said that they don't know. How do we know that they don't know? How do we know that they just don't want to? They don't want to know. Because, for instance, Dorian, out here, we see a lot of the Confederate flags. For us as black people, we symbolize that as a form of you don't like us. They don't feel like that flag has anything to do with racism. But if you go back and do your history on the guy that actually created the flag, because the flag actually, like, the design of the flag, he was using
for his logo. I think he was like a radio broadcaster or a news broadcaster. He was using that logo, and when they was doing the Confederate exchange or whatever, they liked that image and they got his approval to use it. They changed it a little, and when they did the press release of it, matter of fact, let me find a quote because I did my homework on it. So with that being said, it's not, for me, I don't think that it's not that they don't know. I think it's just a matter of they don't care. They don't care about our history. They don't care how it affects us. They don't care. That's what I get from it.
But see, you use the word they.
I was gonna
Who
say,
is
I
they?
think it's it's not. It's
You
like
can't
any group. You
categorize.
can't
So we don't want to be categorized
as the whole, exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's some of us that I wouldn't be
Yeah.
caught with for
Yeah,
nothing.
that is true.
So I think it's a segment, but it's a segment in every group.
exactly.
You
no
can't
matter which
define
one.
the whole with
Right.
one.
Because what I can tell you coming up, when you was talking about Gregory Drive, and I said I went to West Connect. Back when I was younger, we lived in the projects. This is before you was even came about and thought of. You wasn't.
Yeah, this is
supposed
this is before the Lord said
I
He's gonna
love
make
it.
that happen.
And so I lived on this side of the street. My neighbor, one of my closest friends, lived directly across the street. They all went to Gregory Drive. I got bused to West Connect, and so we got bused out. So my mom didn't drive, so there was no coming to awards. There was no coming.
Right.
Don't get in trouble because
I
I can't get there.
Right.
I don't drive. That's way out of 103rd.
Yeah.
We live off of what is it? The north side, Roosevelt
Behind
Apartments.
Shands.
Behind
Oh,
Shands. Yeah.
really?
We were bused.
All the way over
Yes,
there.
to 103rd.
Wow.
Yep. And so there was no. But what I can tell you, my best friend, my second grade best friend, her name was Brooke, and me and her were so close. She would defend me to the earth and back. Now she moved on in the second grade. I never forgot the impact that little girl made on my life. And I can tell you, when Facebook came around,
Who'd you
guess
go
who
look
Facebook
for
friends?
first? I know that's
And I
right.
pinged her and I say, "Do you remember me?" And she go, "Of course I remember you."
Aw.
Now we were in second grade and had never talked since second grade. But when I pinged her as an adult, she remembered. She said, "Of course I remember you." And we Facebook friends right now today. And today, if you look at any of her Facebook, her thing, if somebody talking about racism, she all in it about how, that's wrong, that she is all in it. She done defriended half people. If you believe about racism, or if you don't disregard somebody because of their sexual orientation, she will cut you off at the knees.
Well, we need
And
more
she's
people like
always
that.
been that type
I
of
think
person from the
there's
second
a lot
grade.
of people like
Yeah.
that, though. I just think it goes back to kind of what we were talking about earlier. Like, if you're looking for one thing, that's all you see.
Yep.
There's just so much trash.
Yeah.
It's also in what you consume.
Mhm.
Because even now, like, I
Bingo.
live on Instagram. There's no two thoughts about it. I have to tell myself, put this down, because I'm over consuming, and then you wonder why, you feel heavy and you feel down, and you're like, well, nothing's going on.
Yeah.
You're taking in all
And
of this
you're taking in
stuff.
all that
All
negativity.
that
And it
negative
affects
energy.
you.
Now we live it. Now that's not to
We
say we live it,
do.
but we can't.
You
allow
don't have
it
to keep
consume it.
consuming
But
it.
our
though.
kids, when it impacts your kids, so I understand your position, because when it impacts your kids,
And it's
Mama
not a
bear
parent,
coming
so
out
I
play
can't
baby.
imagine what that's like. I would imagine that's got to be what it is. Now you're messing with my kids.
yeah,
Right.
messing with my kids. So my whole turn, act ratchet after 5 attitude goes away. We better act ratchet now because
Right.
you messing with my baby.
Right.
I love mine just like you love yours,
Right.
and we'll do anything for them.
That's right.
So now we got a different, and it's hard for me to stay level when you're talking about my kid or messing with my kid.
Mm-hmm.
I get
So all
that.
that other stuff goes out the window.
I get that. But no, you're right. We have to do what we can to teach them to be adaptable, but also set the boundaries. We talked
Right.
about boundaries earlier. Set the boundaries and not just take anything because it's an adult or because it's some elderly person. That doesn't give you the right to talk crazy.
Yeah.
Respect begets respect.
Exactly. But nowadays, regardless of whether it's white, black, the kids, we're talking about respect. That whole respect thing is not being taught.
No.
Well, that definitely starts at home.
Oh
But it's
God.
not. It's a lot of that. It's not.
Right.
It's they're just not getting it.
Well, and then okay, so before we get into that, because I have a whole thought process on that too.
Okay.
But we were talking about the Confederate flag. So the guy that created the Confederate flag, his name is William T. Thompson. This is from April 23rd, 1863. The creator of the Confederate flag, in his own words, quotes,
As a people, we are fighting to maintain the heaven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior or colored race. A white flag would thus be emblematical of our cause. Upon a red field would stand forth our Southern Cross, gene preserving a beautiful contrast, the red, white, and blue. So, if, as their people, Caucasians, whatever your ethnicity is, if you support the Confederate flag and you don't feel like it has anything to do with racism, go do your research. Because, again, I just quoted the creator and what that flag emphasized. So, as a parent, if you are a supporter of the Confederate flag, your children see that, what are they going to do?
But a lot of people teach racism.
That's what I'm saying. So it starts at home.
Right, but on the flip side, I 100% get you. A lot of people is really teaching their kids to be racist because they were racist. But then you've seen some people who left that lifestyle. And it was because they finally met people who took the time to educate them. Because when you're educated based on the information that's in front of you, the information that's passed down. So you're not going to go out and seek anything differently. So...
But that goes back to what we talked about before. Change. Yeah, you have to want that change.
You have to want it.
So that's where it starts. It starts with you acknowledging the errors and deciding to change those behaviors. So the racism that we experience, those are, and when I say that's what I'm talking about. Those people of the race, those racist people who are choosing deliberately not to change their ways or their thought process. Them people, we can't do nothing for them.
That's it. That's the way I think.
Yeah, you can't.
If you refuse to change, you don't even wait for it. But I'm glad I know who I'm dealing with.
Exactly.
That's the difference. That's understanding and knowing who you're dealing with versus that person who's going to fake in front of your face and they're stabbing you in your back.
I'd rather not deal with them.
Yeah. That's the person.
Give me the one that I know.
If you tell me, hey, I don't like people because the color of their skin. I don't like you because your sexual origin. Thank you, because I know how to stay away from you.
Yeah,
right.
And how to deal with you.
Yeah, right.
And don't keep you away from my kids because we're going to have a whole different other conversation.
So for me, if you want to be racist,
yeah.
be upfront about it. So I can know know my position and where I stand and how to protect me and mine. Yeah. That's it. We good. Okay, so let's get into our Black history.
Okay.
You know, we always want to dedicate to our Black history. Miss Rara, would you do the pleasure of telling us who we are dedicating this Black history moment to?
Dr. Yosef Ben, and I'm going to butcher the last name, so I do apologize. Jochannan, Jochannann.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
He was an African-American writer and historian, considered to be one of the most prominent Afrocentric scholars by some in the Black nationalist community. Authored 49 books, primarily on ancient Nile Valley civilization and its influence on Western cultures. In 1945, he received a doctoral degree in cultural anthropology and Moorish history from the University of Havana and the University of Barcelona, Spain. He was appointed chairman of the African Studies Committee of the newly founded United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, known as UNESCO, in 1945.
Wow. Never heard of
it. Me either.
Awesome. So I bought these, like I was telling Terry before, I bought these Black History flashcards. They're from urbanintellectuals.com. I follow them on Facebook. Oh, so when we was talking about...
Let's just switch gears.
That's right.
Let's roll back around
so
to that conversation. So we
was talking about the parents and being involved. So I'm a young parent. I'm not here to be your friend. And that is where the children are losing the respect for their parents and respect for authority. Your first authority figure is your parent.
Yes.
And if you don't respect them, you won't respect anyone. Right. So you gonna go into this world how you were saying when I was like, yes ma'am, no ma'am. I was raised like that.
I get it. Me too. That's why I was like, I get why she's doing it.
But
no, you're right.
But I do it to the little kids. I'm like, yes ma'am, no ma'am. I think it's just a force of habit.
But I teach my children, yes,
That's
ma'am,
right.
no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, please, thank you, excuse me.
As you should.
But they're losing their parent because the parent is trying to be your friend. Like, oh no, let's.
With the little kids, and they're laughing, the parents laughing, the kid cursing and saying all kind of stuff out their mouth. The kid is a cute little kid, but that attitude, baby, and that mouth,
You gonna get it.
That
Every
kid
which
gonna
way.
grow
but that
up.
You
kid
gonna
is
get it
gonna
all
grow up.
back. That's right.
And if that you thinking you're laughing and saying it's cute now, and I'm looking at this video going, why would you post it? That would be an embarrassment as a parent.
Exactly.
Like, how are you teaching this kid? What are you raising and saying to this kid? Because she got attitude and she flipping her, rolling her neck and rolling her eyes. Now, I do understand that it's a different generation.
It is.
And I do understand that you can't, and, you know, each parent does discipline different.
Sure.
You know, I grew up, you got your little behind toe up, but even in the school, we got paddles in school back in my day. And so, with my
That's too, child.
and at home, and I grew up in a generation where I was scared to get caught by the neighbor too, or my mama.
That's right.
Because you got to get it from the neighbor, and then she go home and tell your mama, then your mama got to
Everybody, you gotta get it from everybody.
You know, everybody in it, and
But that's the whole it takes a village. That's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
You can't tell
You
nobody
can't-
nothing.
Okay.
So he supposed to climb up on the roof and fly from the ceiling. I can't say nothing. Like nothing.
'cause, look,
You can't.
that's what you're not supposed to say nothing. But me and my attitude in my mouth, I'm looking at you and your kid. I'm
I know,
sorry.
but now you gotta be worried about them fight. They want to fight. They want to shoot. So
Yeah.
now I'm to the point. Now I have on blinders because like I'm that way, and I'm
Yeah.
not a parent, but I'm definitely that way. Like a client of mine, right? So we're in Chick-fil-A, and it was near closing. You like all these booths are empty, right? Go figure. We sit in the booth. This little girl comes and sits, and I could tell she did not feel well. Like she had her head down. So I'm not thinking anything of it. The indoor playground, the table was attached to for her side. So it must have been the little brother. I kind of put that together, and he is like off of the wall, off of everything, and she keep telling him through the window, stop. She might have been 10, 11. He's probably 5, 6. All right. So already I'm like, oh, here it goes. We got all these tables empty, and they got to come sit right here. So it's me and my client, and we had a camera guy with us, and we're sitting there eating, get ready to drive out to Jacksonville. The mom comes over. So the little boy now comes out. Now he has gone, and I'm sitting on the end. He's tied his shoelaces together, and he's taken one end. So the other end is like a little missile. He's just swinging it back and forth. And it's some feet, apart, tied to shoestrings, and every rotation, he's backing up. So he's like 2 rotations from hitting me or my client. Mom ain't saying nothing. So already I'm just looking because I'm in mid conversation, but peripherally I see this shoe coming, and all I'm thinking is that if I get bust upside the head with this shoe, I'm gonna know something. And I'm a very peaceful person, so I'm looking. She's not saying nothing. So finally something happened, and the little girl already doesn't feel well. He was the worst. Like, he wasn't cursing her, but what I'm not gonna do, this, that, and the third. Then he's not a baby. He wants to climb in mom's lap, and she should have no control. So I don't know my face, RBF. I don't know what my face was saying. I didn't say anything verbally, but my face said something. So all of a sudden, like, I ignore it. We're talking. The mom gets up and goes to the condiment counter, and Chick-fil-A sits in the back. And she keeps looking at me. So you know how you feel naturally, that sixth sense. So all of a sudden my head comes up. I was like, yo, she's grilling me. Like, she's like her mean face, which wasn't mine, but her version of a mean face. So I'm like, is she, So the whole time I'm trying to make sure that like I'm not making a scene. She comes back and sits down. So she keeps looking now, and we're like literally here to here. So finally, I came out of character. And I was like, is there a problem? And I wasn't even like rah with it.
She wasn't me with it.
I'm still trying to be cool, She took off. You're over here judging me and this, that, and the third. And it was like anything that she was already upset about, I know came out. You judging me and looking at my child, So at this point, I'm like, all right, gang, I'm going to gather my food and I'm going to go outside because this is going to go left in any minute. I mean, she was very confrontational. So I go outside, and I see her through the window. She is still going off. So now she's called someone. I don't know who she's called. So now I have the adrenaline's going. So now I got the rah with you because you keep coming at me. So my client was like, let's just go. So she now starts crying. I see her through the window crying.
So the lady's crying or your client crying?
My client is looking like, you just had to say something, huh, Terry? I'm like, well, she keeps looking at me like I'm crazy. Of course. Like, is it a problem? And again, he was about to hit you and me. So I feel like I had the right at that point to say something because he's now in our space. And again, y'all could have sat in any other table with this foolishness. So anyway, that happened. So after that, I'm like, Terry, just don't look. Don't say anything. But it's hard because it impedes on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm supposed to sit here and be okay with this child possibly hitting me with his shoe.
Right.
And not say anything.
Exactly.
But I'm wrong. So after that, you're right. I just try to mind my business now. It's very difficult.
Stay in your lane.
But you gotta stay in your lane because people really don't want you to address any kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Let it be your child, though.
Right.
But I'm supposed to take it. So after that incident, and that's probably like 3-4 years ago, I just be like, let me just not.
See, I can't.
I
I know
work real
you
hard.
You
And see, even my mom, I worry about, my mom is 70 now, and the teacher in her still comes out. So I'll call her sometimes, and like she'll call me fussing about something that happened in the store. I'm like, listen, we're just not there anymore. So I understand your frustration, and it's naturally in you to want to like, but you gotta chill because people have no respect now. I don't want to get no phone calls about somebody that ran over you in the store with a basket or something crazy because now I got to go down to jail.
Right.
I got to get to you first because your old school respectful mentality is outdated now, which it shouldn't be because you're right. As much as the world changes, certain things should not change.
But it's because kids started having kids at a lot younger age.
It's true.
Now
I disagree. Ladies been having babies at 12 and
That is
13,
true.
way before this teenage epidemic pregnancy thing. They was getting married then, so we can't say that. I just think the parenting changed.
But that was, back when grandmama, she had all those kids. Grandmama had kids. They were supposed to be wives and raise kids at that young age.
Oh well, yeah.
Now in this generation,
They just want to be baby mamas.
It's something cute to do.
Yeah, it's cute.
Look at all these baby, what is it, the gender reveal things?
Oh,
so
yeah,
over the
was
top.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't had no gender reveal. I feel like I missed out.
They shooting cannons.
I kind of did too, and I had 3 of them.
It's like it's just something cute
Right.
to do. This is a whole person you're responsible for.
But that's just like with marriage. Like people don't value marriage. It's all about the ring. Oh, what type of ring? If he don't get me this type of ring, then I'm not going to accept his proposal. So you marry the man because because of the material stuff, or are you marrying him because you genuinely love this man and you can't see yourself without him?
But again, are we compatible?
Right.
Are we even compatible? Like. It looks cute.
Yeah.
It's something cute.
So
to do.
I think in the era we in now, especially with social media and Instagram and the likes and the followings, you're doing the most to get those followings.
To get the attention.
You're probably not even concerned about getting married, but you just posted because you want to get the likes and the followers. You probably don't even really care about your kids and what they really got going on, but you want to be involved on the first day of school and show all these pictures of these Tommy Hilfiger outfits and the Jordans. But how many parent teacher conference you done went to this year?
And that's a soft spot for me. I feel like it's so irresponsible.
Oh, yeah,
it's so irresponsible because you're creating a cycle.
Yeah.
This child can feel that, and I see it. And so I'm an adjunct at FSCJ, and I work in the GED program. So I see a very different student population in some cases. And you can see the effects, even as adults. I have adult students for the most part
trying to get GED.
It's been the wildest social experiment that I never thought I would sign up for. Like, you see so much and you're going, wow. I say every semester I will have at least 1 to 2 students in my class who will not make eye contact. These are grown people, some of them older than me, won't hold their head, and I'm talking of any race. And it's like, you can tell you were probably told your whole life you ain't gonna be nothing. All of that. Mid-semester, all of a sudden the head comes up. We start answering questions, but you have to build that confidence. And it's like, going back to confidence is everything. So these people, in some cases, have been berated their whole entire life. And it probably started at home. Your mom, who knows what mom said to you because she didn't want you. Or you reminded her of, or even your father. You just don't know how these things play out. And it's sad,
Now, I'm going to make a controversial statement, so I know it's a controversial statement. But I'm going to make it anyway because that's just who I am.
It is.
So there are some parents, some mothers, I'm going to say that, because the topic I'm going to say will say, you remind me of your dad, so they treat the kid a certain way because they resemble or they do something that remind them. Not all mothers, so before y'all go.
No, those are,
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
good mothers here. I can vouch. I can feel it.
Not all mothers.
No,
But
some
we
people
do-
should not be
We know
parents.
that one mama
Yeah.
who
We
look
all
at
do.
her child and be like,
We
"Oh, I
all
can't
do.
stand your ass. You look
And
just
can
like
you
your daddy."
imagine that?
Yeah.
Think about
psychological.
that.
Psychological.
Tiffany Haddish, she talks about that
Yes.
all the time.
Does she
How her
really?
mom, she was verbally abused by her mom because she looked so much like her dad. And like once her mom got in her accident and had her brain injury, like
Oh, it
she,
will all come out.
Yeah.
She couldn't have a.
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah, and she's
It's frightening, but you're right. That's not controversial. Facts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but some people only
No.
hear what they want to hear.
Well, hear it.
And
Not
so-
everyone should be a parent.
Yeah.
yes,
And to me, you start messing with the kid mind
You
at
do.
a young age.
You do.
And then they go out to school and they take that aggression and that anger out on somebody else so they can feel better about
Yep.
themselves.
Right. And we got a whole cycle.
yep.
and it's a
That's
whole
how
cycle.
bullying starts.
Yep.
That's right.
That is how bullying
Oh, that's a
starts.
whole other thing. But I'm going to make another controversial statement. Bullying.
Go.
I don't remember ever coming up. I'm a dark skin. I don't remember not being talked about.
And I don't either being light skinned because you're not black
Well, me
enough for the
neither.
blacks, but it's
Look,
true.
I was like, I don't remember not being talked about, but it was just I said stuff back. You
Yeah.
know, I didn't internalize it as much. But I do think that like just being different. Like for instance, our mama didn't drive. My mama was afraid of driving. A couple of my aunts afraid of driving. So somebody have to take them everywhere. So
My
when
grandma
I
was that
grew
way.
up, when I was saying I was bused, so not a awards event,
Right.
not a sports event. Mama didn't come nowhere
Right.
because she couldn't get nowhere. And so I vowed that for my kid, I would go to everything. So everything that happens in your life impacts you one way or another.
Whether you're conscious or
It's conscious of
unaware
it or
of
is unaware of
it's
it.
so real.
I'm like, when my daughter, when she finally got her car, she used to play every sport, soccer, softball, basketball, volleyball, whatever. She was playing it. And then she got into the travel stuff. And so I was there. So when she got her car, she was like, you don't have to go to my practice anymore. I was so in the habit of going, I would still get off work and go and just sit there and look. And she's like, why are you still coming? Because in my mind, I had to be there.
And
Just
you
to
had the
let her
experience
know
of the other side.
I had the other side.
Yeah.
So you're either going to follow the same pattern
Right.
or you're going to break that pattern.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
No matter what. You're
And
gonna follow
even
it or you're
that,
gonna
I
break
think that's a good point too, because then, so a lot of times, so this is the other side of being in this situation, in this classroom, of seeing all the excuses. You know, and I don't care how you slice it. It may not look like it, but all of us have our share of trauma
it.
Right.
Absolutely.
and horrible experiences.
Right.
Every which one of us. So it's like, all right. Well, first of all, nobody owes you anything.
Yeah.
Secondly, we
That's it.
we have shared traumas.
Yes,
Like if you go
yes.
digging deep enough, that doesn't give me a pass to not be better.
There you
But
go.
there's so many crutches, and
Yes.
that part drives me nuts because
Excuses.
so I didn't know in this program. I don't get in trouble for saying this, right? In this program, if they come to class, I think it's for like 2 weeks, they get free bus passes. Right, what your face just did was mine. I was like a free bus pass. So yeah, in my mind,
I still gotta pay.
I'm like, why should there be an excuse for not being able to get
Right.
anywhere? Like, they have so many programs,
Yeah.
and time after time, there's a handful of students that will enroll, and I'm not kidding. Within 4 or 5 weeks, they'll drop off. Oh well, I got this going on. And that. I'm gonna tell a quick story. My first semester teaching, I had a young girl in my class, and it was she and her. I think it was her great grandmother, to tell you generations.
Right.
And the great grandmother could not have been more than, I'm gonna say she was 70. I don't think she was 70. So you just do the math, okay? And they were there faithfully every day, just very, very sweet. And maybe like it was a fall semester, so just before I think it was Thanksgiving, I noticed she would come in and put her head down. It was cold, so she had a jacket on. She was pregnant, but I didn't realize it most of the semester because she would have a sweater or a jacket on. And I could tell some days she would come into class and she would just put her head down, and I would let her because she was a good student, and I knew it wasn't disrespect. She didn't feel well. So they take their class and they start taking their tests like the last week of the semester. She was due. And she was so concerned about, like, I don't want to miss my test. What do I do? Come to find out, this young lady, I think, was 20. This was her third child.
Wow.
Okay. And I didn't know that. I think I found that out by accident. And I was like, listen, you're pregnant. You don't know how your body's going to respond. Don't you worry about that. Like, just keep in communication with me.
Right.
So I think, I'm not kidding, the whole semester she might have missed 1 or 2 classes because she had doctor's appointments. Now here's this girl, doesn't feel good, pregnant, all
With
this.
3 other kids, and
she's still there.
She's still here. So the Wednesday came, we had Monday, Wednesday class. Wednesday came, she wasn't in class, so I knew she must have had the baby. I'm not exaggerating. Monday,
She was back in class.
guess who was in my class?
Stop it.
So I'm saying that to say that was my first semester. After meeting her,
No excuses.
there's zero,
Yeah.
none. This girl dropped the baby on Wednesday and was
Was
in
in
my class
class
on
on
Monday.
Monday.
And I'm looking at her almost upset. Like, why are you here? No, I'm fine.
See, she
There's
must
no
have had
excuse.
them old people in her life. Girl, you finna get a setback if you don't go put your behind.
There's no excuse. Now, the kicker to this is I've told this story, and the assumption is what? She's black. She was not. It was a white girl.
Wow.
You know? So I'm saying that to say, like, there's outliers in every situation. You got to want it, which you
That's the
both
key.
have said.
Yeah.
Meeting her changed it for me. There's
Yeah.
no excuse.
There's no excuse.
Definitely.
This girl, I'm not kidding, had a baby on Wednesday. It was in my class. I wouldn't have came to class on Monday.
Yeah,
I would not
probably
have.
not.
I'm
But
barely in class
I can't say nothing.
when it was raining. So
I probably would have. And the only reason why is because I graduated high school pregnant, and none of like my friends, and nobody knew I was pregnant. I went to prom pregnant, and at that time, I stayed out all night on prom night because I was already pregnant. I was like,
what we
"Mom."
gonna do? Exactly.
What
You can't do that
happened?
again.
So
I love it.
when college started, I went to college. Nobody knew I was pregnant because I didn't show. My butt got bigger and my boobs got bigger, and they just thought I had a beer gut. So then I'm like going to school. Nobody knows. Got to give birth, got to deliver, and all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm gonna miss my final because it was close to the final. I'm gonna miss my final. And then the teacher announced, I contacted the teacher to let him know I just had a baby because I don't want to get kicked out of class.
Right.
So and he was like, no words, and he announced to the class that she had a baby. They were like, she was pregnant.
Oh goodness.
And he was like, yeah, but we're gonna get her work together and let her take the final. Blah 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 blah. I just had to show up, took my final by myself. He didn't make me come to class, but I showed up,
That's right.
took that final, so I could just get through that semester.
That's
then I
right.
could take the next semester off to deal with all of these things that was changing in my life.
That's right.
Definitely.
But
And
again,
kudos to him for allowing that, because now here's
definitely.
a converse story. At FAMU, I will not call her name, but she's a very well-known professor for any of us that had her. And here I am at this black institution, this black professor. She was difficult for the sake of just being difficult. So the professor that I say reminded me of my mom. Much like you told your daughter, I always felt like this is not life, not gonna take the easy route. Everybody was like, do not take this lady class. But I felt like
I can handle it.
my work's gonna speak for it. I ain't gonna like her. I'm just here to do my work.
There you go.
That's the one time it backfired. She was just a pill for everybody. It was so bad. A young lady in my class, like graduation was say next week, and she was graduating and then moving like the next day. She was engaged, was getting married and moving across country. She did all that and found out this lady failed her.
No.
She was that kind of, like the whole class. I think we had one student and he was a 4.0 student his entire 4 years. She gave him a C. So she was that professor just for the sake of being that way, right?
And she still ain't nobody got rid of her.
She
yet?
might still be there. I don't know. But if y'all know who I'm talking about, I won't call the class because y'all know who I'm talking about. But anyway, all that said, there was a young lady that sat next to me in the row, and she had a small child, like an infant child. And I remember I sat near the door so I could hear the conversation. This girl came to class and was like, she had to have, I don't know if it's like a fibroid or something to do with a woman's issue, surgery,
stuff.
something to do with reproduction. And had to have surgery for it and was going to be out for 6 weeks. So I'm hearing her tell the professor that. The professor looked at her real straight and was like, well, you might as well go to the registrar's office and withdraw because you're not going to pass this class if you can't be here for 6 weeks. No, like, your situation.
Compassion.
Let me try to get your. But again, hearing that set in. Okay, so again, nobody owes you anything.
Right.
This is what you're gonna encounter.
But
Learn
teachers
to
can
adapt.
make or break
Do you
a
see what I'm
child's
saying?
spirit.
Yes.
I promise
That.
you. I have some teachers. My first grade teacher, I remember her name is Gosdet. My second grade teacher, Miss Currency. My third grade teacher, Miss Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those first teachers have the most
They do.
impact on your life.
Absolutely.
And they don't realize it.
No.
Negative or positive. It can go either way. Just like
Right.
your parent, they play just as a lot of
You're
role
with them more.
because you're
Yeah.
with them more. Exactly. And I can say all those teachers I named molded me. God, I remember like they pulling you aside. They can sense when something was wrong. They talking you through it, even when you couldn't talk to your parent.
That's right.
They
And you
talk
can
to
feel
you.
the interest.
And
Mhm.
I'm talking about being in the first grade, and Miss Gossett was a white teacher that wanted to take me because she said, "I see something in you." This lady telling me, "I see something in you."
Yeah. What did
And-
that do for
yeah,
you?
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was, see something in myself too, girl.
Right, and
Right.
then you probably wasn't getting
Yeah.
that at home because
Yeah.
we didn't come from no
Yeah,
affectionate,
yeah,
loving,
exactly.
supporting
Yeah.
household.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
know,
probably
so
why
we
we're
would-
not supporting loving people right now. Cause
Wait, hold
I
on.
don't know because my mom is super affectionate.
Hold on,
I
hold
really
on.
am not.
Hold on.
So I don't know.
Let's just back that up. Pump your brakes.
And it's not that you're not loving.
Thank you. I'm loving.
We just show it
I
differently.
show it differently.
Because I'm the same way.
But both of y'all Aquariuses, that's probably
Is
why
that
y'all.
what it matters?
That's probably
Oh,
what it
okay.
might be because you have a
I-
birthday in February and she got one. Both of y'all Aquarius. That might just be what
I'm
it
very,
is.
and the crazy part is I feel everything so deeply.
Yeah.
Like people would probably not believe. Like I feel it in the depths, like everything. But I'm not gonna always show
Sure,
it. Now,
that's
granted, the older I'm getting, the more like emotional I'm becoming.
Yeah, I was
But
like
then
that.
somebody was like, "It's probably because you've been holding it in all your
All your
life."
life.
I think that's what it
I
is.
told
too.
my dad
it's
that.
overflowing.
Yeah.
No, really.
I told my dad
I cry
that.
like this now, and I have friends that have been friends all my life who've never seen me cry, and now it's like,
And that was my daughter. She go, "Mom, I've never seen you cry. Why would you want to see me cry?"
right?
That must be something we get older because I
It
promise
is.
I was watching something. And I think they
Oh,
was
a movie.
they were just
Yes.
singing the song, and I just felt
Yes.
myself I was
It's
like, I
real.
don't like this. Like, I'm
At
not no
all.
emotional person,
ain't no
but why
punk.
the hell am I getting emotional off of them singing? Like,
It's real.
yeah, so maybe that
It's
just
real.
comes
I
from
think-
holding all
I
that in
think
this
it
out.
is.
But my dad was like that, like, once he got older and health started declining, and he was just like, Trell, I don't know what's wrong with me. I could just be sitting here watching the movie,
It's
and I just
real.
go to cry. And I was like, well,
I'm the
Daddy,
same way.
you probably, because you've experienced so much in life, you've never expressed any emotions, no feelings. All these years later, that stuff is catching up with you
I
because
really
something
believe
is
that.
triggered.
I believe that.
I
In
do
my
think
case,
so.
I know I used to cry all the time.
I'm just not an outward, affectionate,
Yeah.
emotional person. However, internally I am.
That's
Like
why I
I'm
say
a very
everything.
giving. Like
Yes.
I will donate and do whatever I
She
can for
will.
anybody.
and then be
always
hurt when
been
you
that-
can't.
And when I
That's
can't,
me.
and always been that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go up and you won't be seeing me cry because to me you think
That's
that
a
you
sign
can
of
take it back.
weakness.
That's a sign of
I
weakness.
do bad with hugs.
Yeah.
I'm not a hugger.
Yeah, me neither.
And I'd be like, why do you gotta try?
Yeah, I don't know.
I was talking about people getting ready to cry. I'm like, oh.
Oh Lord.
See, that's why I said that. So you all understood because I'm like, please don't start crying in front of me because I ain't gonna know.
Because I don't know what to say, what
I
to
get
do.
awkward.
Like,
This is me being a manager. When I was a manager, it was like one of my associates, because you have to take their emotions with you. You have to take what they're going through, and I'm like, please don't cry, because I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And then luckily I had there was another manager, love her to death. Like she's that emotional support system,
Okay.
Tiana. Like I would be like, hold on just a
So
second.
at least you all had the compliment.
Right. I would be, hold on just a second. I would run out and find her and say, come here, I need you. Because she'll know how to pray with them.
Mm-hmm.
She know how to, get them to just let it out so they can
Right.
suck it up and
And
go
get
back
back
to
to
work.
work. Meanwhile, I'm over here like,
I'm watching her and actually like, masterpiece. Well, I helped because I went and got her.
that's right. I'm on the board. Yes.
Well, I did my part.
That's right.
But I just
No, it's
can't
real.
be,
I don't have it.
I don't have it,
I
I'm
don't
like,
have it.
and everybody knows me as the, just say what I want to say.
That's
Everybody know that's who I am at
That's
work.
it.
Like they know she's just gonna say what she's gonna say. And I'm like, as a manager, they always tell you when you give a negative, say something negative to a person, criticism
There you go.
or critique.
There you go.
Make sure you say 2 or 3 things positive before you say. I can't do that. And even though they told me that, I'm like, I will not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you why I won't do that. Never do it because the person missed your point.
That's
I done just covered up what I'm trying to correct in all of this. Oh, fluff, 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 fluff.
And all you got was the fluff.
And all you walked away with was the fluff.
Right.
And the thing that I need you to correct, you missed it. So I'm gonna fluff you when you doing something great. I'm high fiving you, yelling. That's what I'm going. Good job. Da-da-da-da. But when we got a problem, let's just address the problem.
Yeah.
Why do I have to fluff it all up? And that's what they tell you. And I know that it happens because I done a teacher probably, a teacher or a manager tried to call me in and you fluffed me up. I forgot all the other stuff.
Right.
What were you trying to correct?
No, you're right.
Rashada, you too direct. But you just said I do all my work good, so I'm gonna focus on what them 3 things outweigh that one thing. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna ride with those 3 things.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna fix the one thing.
Right.
Everybody ain't perfect. Nobody's perfect. You just gave me
They
one
love
thing.
to say that. People love to crutch on that.
Hey, you gave me 3 positive and 1 negative.
That's right.
Oh, nobody's perfect. I'm winning.
Yep.
I'm winning.
Yep.
Yes.
Nothing to correct.
That's real. Yeah, I couldn't be a manager.
Oh, it was horrible, and everybody kept. Even when I moved in my new role as an individual contributor, and when a manager role come back up, they call me like, Rashonda, before we bring anybody, do you? No, absolutely not.
Probably because you're a wonderful manager. It sounds
Absolutely
like.
not. Absolutely not. And then a new manager come in and go, why didn't I'm feeling kind of, why didn't they offer you? I'm like, they did.
Mm-hmm.
I turned it down. That's why you're here.
You got it.
Yeah. I'm good. I don't feel threatened by me. Don't ever, don't feel threatened. I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
That's right.
And now they understand why. And they was like, Rashonda, was I ever that bad as an associate? Because like my latest manager, I hired her, so she came in under me, and then she left, got promoted, did great things, and she came back because she's always wanted to be a manager. And she was like, was it that? I was like, no. Every person is different.
That's right.
And so you're going to deal with difficult associates, and some, people feel like you owe them something.
Mm-hmm.
When she came in, she was just hungry for knowledge. She just like, when she came in the healthcare field, she had no healthcare experience. And I'm like, I don't care because I can teach you that.
Right.
But I can't teach you initiative.
I can't teach you what you have.
drive.
Exactly.
I can't teach you none of that, but you came in and you already have it. So I know everything else I can teach you.
Yeah.
And I said, so no, you wasn't like that because you was just hungry for information.
Right.
You just wanted to show and prove to somebody that you
were
can
willing
succeed.
to learn it. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
You have
that's
to be
what
willing.
you had to sell me on in the interview. I didn't care about experience.
Right.
People
like,
miss that. People like, well, you hire her with no experience. And I would have hired you with no experience.
That's
but
right.
you do have to come with
Something.
That's right.
You got to bring something to the
That's
table.
right. And some things you just cannot teach. Like
You
you
can't
said.
teach.
You can't teach that.
And I'm like, and to me, I hate to fail. So if I have any associate on my team, I'm like fully vested with them.
Yeah.
So that's emotionally draining.
It is.
Like, and I'm like, no, I'm good, y'all. I'm good. Because now I'm not a manager. I can say whatever I want to say, and I don't have to watch how I say it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just say it. And I'm like, yeah.
You see that excitement on her face when she said, I get
Yeah.
it.
Say it.
Now
Don't
they'll
worry
probably
about
tell
it.
you. Now they'll probably tell you I just said it anyway. But they just, I did tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did tone it down.
She's like, you're right.
I know you're not talking.
Hey, I'm a work in progress. I
She
say
is
that
a
all
work-
the time.
Look, she's a work in progress, and I was so proud of her because I was like, I don't know if Trey gonna be able to turn it off. And I saw her interact with people, and I'd be like, who the heck is that? Who is that? And then she gonna tell me to myself, I'm Chantrell 8 to 5.
Okay. And who are we 5 to
Trail.
7?
Trail. She said,
Yeah.
then I'm Trail after 5. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
you
Well,
did
these
it.
hours will work great for you. No weekends, no nights.
Yes.
You'll be fine.
I was looking at her going, what?
Yeah, my dad said that when I started working at the health department. And one
That
of
was when it
the director who I was working under, she was a member of our church.
Okay.
And she would go back to my dad and just tell him all of these good things about me and how much she loved me and adored me and this, that, and the third. He was like,
My
"What
child.
is-" he was like, what shit are you talking about?
Wow. That's deep.
So
That is
I
so
was
true.
like, so my dad was like, yeah, I heard talked to Miss Cynthia today. And she said this, that, and the third. She was talking about, I don't know who she was talking to. I was like, Daddy, check this out. So between 8 and 5, I'm Chantrell.
Okay.
I'm very professional, very cordial.
Yes.
I'm here. But after 5 o'clock,
You
you
can
come
get
at
it.
me the wrong way, you're going to get it.
That's right.
You gonna
And there
get
you
it.
go.
But see, I didn't ever think that she was gonna be able to turn it off because she's very strong. Like she's very strong.
I peeped that initially. I was like, she's
was like-
feisty, but I like it.
Like, I was like, oh Lord. And when she turned, I'm like, who is
Yes.
that? And then I was hearing her talking. I'm like, what in the heck?
Right.
And he go, me. I must have rubbed off on her.
I did that.
So when the good stuff happens, she like to take the credit
Yeah,
for it.
absolutely. I can see that. That's fair.
Absolutely.
That's
Oh, I
fair.
do that with my daughter all the time. Anything something
That's
good.
right.
Yep, that's the meaning.
Oh, she had something to do with it.
Oh, absolutely.
But the bad stuff, I tried to tell her.
Oh,
She don't
look.
want to listen.
Mm-mm.
I love
No,
it.
no, no, no.
I love it.
No, no,
I get it. I just like that.
Yeah.
So you'll be fine.
Yep, I'm excited. All right, so as we get ready to wrap this show up, ladies, do you have any closing remarks or any final thoughts that you would like to leave with our teasters today? Going once?
I'm going to say this.
Go ahead, sister.
If you see a kid out there and that kid is missing something, we all have something in us to give.
Mm.
So don't look at another kid and say it's not my problem, because it will be your problem.
Deep.
Whether you're dealing with it by it not being your kid, or dealing with that kid doing something to your kid or your niece, your nephew, or your next door neighbor who you care something about.
Or
But-
growing up to be the president and run
Yeah.
the country.
But one way or not, that person may impact your life. A lot of us stand back because we don't want to get involved. And I truly understand, because now I'm very cautious about my
You have
battles.
to
You got to
be.
choose your
That's
battles.
right.
But when it comes to a kid, there's just something about my heart that said we have the potential to guide them a different way. Just even if you just nudging them, that one nudge may lead them to the next person that will nudge them a little bit further.
Mm-hmm.
So just speak up.
So I'm glad that she said it, because I just want to, like they say in life, you give people their flowers when they're here,
Right.
not when they're gone. So I just want to give you your flowers while you're here, because all of my life that I've known her, which is 33 years, she's always been that person. When her husband got married, gravitated towards kids, family per se. When her and her husband got married, they weren't even married a year. One of our cousins who was in unfortunate situation, she wanted to see them do better. She moved them in with her to Chicago. Of course, she didn't succeed because she wanted to get back to this Duval life.
Right.
And
The horse and the wool.
Right.
I got you.
her husband's niece, the same thing,
Wow.
brought her in.
She graduated.
She graduated high school.
That's all I had to do.
man.
My whole thing is get you to graduation.
Graduated high school, but still just didn't understand what she had in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, I was a product of her.
Moved in when I was in Pensacola. So
Went to Pensacola and lived with her husband for a year. That 1 year did impact my life. The person that y'all see right now is a reflection of that guidance that I had that 1 year. But again, I was
she had to get by the Duval.
had to get back to Duval.
Duval will do that to you. I understand.
Other family members just trying. I remember she bought one of our cousins a computer because she said she wanted to do something inspired and bought a computer. I think she took it to the pawn shop and pawned it. So with that being said, she's always, like she said, if you see that child in there in need, she's always been the person
Like
to
that
step
matriarch.
up.
But you know what's fascinating? Yes, flowers to you for sure for that. I do a segment on my personal Instagram called Flowers on Friday.
Really?
And
Okay.
hear you do this. I love this because we think we're telling people sometimes and we don't. You know what I mean? So it's important to say to somebody,
Definitely.
thank you. So I love this. Thank you for
Definitely.
letting me see this. In our generations, though, we don't see, like, this reminds you of somebody's grandmother.
Mhm.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
I've always been that motherly grandmother.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But in our generation, I don't think that we
Yeah.
see a lot of
Yeah,
this. 'Cause
definitely.
maybe it is the age, is it too close, or the experience? I don't know. But think about that. Like, we don't really have those
Yeah.
kind of, like, matriarchal figures in our communities anymore, now that I can think of, unless it's somebody grandma.
Right.
Yeah.
But someone's got to be that.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to be said.
Yeah. She coupon, donate to the women's shelter peoples. She just do a lot of stuff.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, I that's
Well,
my
I
it's
bring her
honor
in.
to
But look, I
meet
bring
you.
her in. I'm like, back to school driver. Trail, I'm doing the back to school driver. I don't know who I'm donating to, but it's going
Yeah.
to somebody.
Go
yeah,
get something.
yeah, like what the last school year we did put like 20 bags together,
Wow.
book bags, fill them up with school supplies, and all of this from couponing. So again,
Wow.
like she it's not like she's really going into her pockets and spending all of this money to help people.
But it's the time.
It's the time and the effort and all of that
right.
that people
And that you
don't
care to do it.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. So she's always been that person.
That's amazing.
So hats off to you. That kind of inspires me, which I kind of want to do. But I don't know, maybe I need to work on myself a little bit more. I don't know, but I kind of want to be a big sister, like a mentor to somebody that was like me. Because again, like I said, my mom passed away when I was 10. I raised myself. I said I was in the streets. My husband's like, girl, you went in the streets. But I was in the streets at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, skipping school, smoking weed, drinking, like all of that.
But then it was funny because her dad would call me on the phone, and then she'll get on the phone and he'll tell me what she did. And all I had to say was, I am so disappointed. Ooh. And she would cry. And he go, what you say? And make her cry. Like, she's so hard tough and she could say whatever
she could push the button.
Yep. And from that little conversation, it will switch that nudge. It's just that nudge to do something a little bit different.
What a blessing that you had her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That little nudge to do. So that's why, like, now when I see her, I'm like,
look at her.
Like, anything.
I'm so proud.
Look, exactly. That's why I'm like, ain't the fact because I know, like, she be at a family. So, who cooked these chitlins?
They stink.
And he go me. You can't say that. You gonna hurt somebody's feelings.
I don't care.
You gotta use. He go me. You gotta use tact. What's that?
Right.
And I look at her.
Tomato.
And I'm like, you can't just say that. Well, it does.
That is hilarious.
What you want me to say? It don't smell good.
Y'all are a trip. I love it. I love this.
But now, look at this. Being a mother, raising 3 kids, got her own house, her own vehicle, married, doing things. And now she's giving back and trying to share what she's gone through so it can help the next person. Oh, man. Life is a full circle.
She winning. Ain't you winning?
Oh, girl, I'm winning.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And somebody had to tell me that, like, your experiences are not your own.
Yeah.
So being vulnerable enough to share things, you know, with other people because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know how your story can impact.
You don't.
And I've gotten that a lot in like the last 6 months. Really? Just me being myself, just telling my story. Yep. And people are like, you know, you really inspire me. You're so strong. Like, I want to be strong like you. And you know, and I'm like, really? But
you, it's your normal.
Yeah, and that's just me being normal. But you know, I appreciate it. And I'm a work in progress.
We all are.
Hey, the struggle was real.
It still is.
I
gotta remember everything. Right? It still is.
And we getting there. We making progress
here.
And we making moves. And as I stated, as we learn stuff and we evolve, we want to share that and expand on it and build on it. All right. Well, as we get ready to wrap this up, we're going to get our message from the Lord. And our message.
The Lord said it, so it shall
so
be done.
When she said that, at first I was like, she goes, which is me, and I was like, and then it clicked. I said, oh, I gotcha.
So our message from the Lord today is treat people the way you want to be treated. Talk to people the way you want to be talked to. Respect is earned, not given.
Amen.
All right, teachers, we'll catch you on another one. Stay sweet and